Hello there guys, so today I'm just going to give a short-ish tutorial on how to up to double your frames per second in PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Obviously if you've played PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds you know that the frame rate isn't the greatest at the best of times. I'm sort of looking how to get a frame rate of about 30 up to about 60. Um, Now personally I had about 45 frames per second before I did all this. Afterwards, I had 85 frames ish. So we're just going to show you quickly. The first thing you'll notice is I'm in my NVIDIA control panel. If you don't know how to get to that, you just right click on your desktop and your NVIDIA control panel's there. Or you can come down into your search bar, at least I believe. NVIDIA control. Okay, it doesn't seem to appear there, but it definitely does appear by right clicking here. For AMD users, I'm not entirely sure how this works. Just for specs wise, I'm running a 1080 Ti with an AMD 8-core processor at 3.9 gigahertz. So the first thing I did was I just scrolled down to this resolution here, which is 1280 by 1020. This resolution is actually going to appear in my next video where I talk about becoming better in PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. And you're basically going to want to hit apply, and once you do so, your screen might not is probably going to have black bars over here and over here. And at the same time, you're just going to want to head down to, I'm going to click no because the recording will mess up. You're just going to want to head down to adjust desktop size and position and hit full screen. And this will stretch it so that you don't have the black bars. So I'll show you what that looks like now. And there you go. This is what the screen now looks like. You can see it is more stretched than before, and the resolution has downgraded slightly. So what does this have in the game? Well, let's go and have a look. Okay, so the chances are this is what your screen looks like before. It's relatively high resolution, and it looks all pretty fine and dandy. Nothing too special here. You see it on plenty of streams. You probably play on it yourself. And now we'll switch to what it looks like after. Okay, so this is probably what you see after. Now, what difference does this make to gameplay? Well, obviously to start off, you are at a slightly lower resolution. So this may make things harder to spot. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you my graphical settings, which I find the best to both having frame rate and visibility. So you can see here I put my FOV to 103. This only really matters if you're playing first person. Next, since I lowered my resolution, I can now up my resolution scale to 120 without seeing much hit in performance. For example, I'll show you before when it's at 100. See, I'm actually getting like 90 frames per second in the lobby, but you lose some of that visibility in the background. And then afterwards, if I up it back to 120, apply and come out, I have more visibility in the background. It's a little bit easier to see, but I do lose about, I do come down to 70 frames per second. So you can see that's a 20 frames per second difference, but when you're in game, it's hardly noticeable unless you have a 144 Hz monitor. But personally, I would prefer to see a little bit further and maintain over a 60 frames per second thing than have 90 frames and not being able to see as far. So what about the rest of my graphical settings? Well, we got anti-aliasing at Ultra. This helps at the further distance viewing. Post-processing, very low, and shadows very low. These just make things more difficult for you to see. It makes it harder to see in darker areas. It makes it harder to see at longer ranges. Textures are on high. This will just make it a little bit easier to distinguish a player who is sneaking in the grass. Effects are on very low. This is just to get rid of some of the butterfly effects that you see. It's just generally performance hitting for no reason. Foliage very low. This is very simple. You want to be able to see that person hiding in the bush, so there's no point in having it higher. View distance high or medium. You really don't need to see further than medium. If you can see someone further than medium, the chances are that something isn't loading into that range and you're not going to be able either A, see them if you had a higher view distance, or B, you wouldn't be able to shoot them on this distance because something's in a way that isn't rendering in. And then obviously VSync motion put it off. So what effect does this have to gameplay? Well, the character model is essentially bigger. And I say essentially bigger, and essentially it's fatter, making it easier to aim. It's easier to aim at a model that's this big. If we draw like a very old hitbox, let's just say that that square there is the hitbox that I'm sort of drawing around. Whereas if you're in 16 by 9, this is a 4 by 3 resolution, the other one is 16 by 9. If you're in a 16 by 9 resolution, it'd probably cut off somewhere about here. So it's giving you about like a good third extra to aim at, which really helps in close range battles. Now, obviously, I have got reshade on as well. There are plenty of tutorials of reshade out there. I haven't seen anyone discuss lowering resolutions to increase FPS and then playing around with your graphical settings then in game to then get that visibility back that you lose. I've managed to find a nice little balance here, so I thought I'd share it with you guys. I hope you guys enjoy. In the next video, I'll discuss how to become better at this game, which will also include this resolution. I'm very Um, yeah, I'm a big believer in this resolution helping you out. It's helped me out in many other first-person shooters, so I hope you guys are looking forward to that. If you enjoyed this one, leave it a thumbs up. Lets me know that this helps you. If it did help you, let me know your frame rate difference and your specs. This helps other people as well down in the description so they can know sort of what they're going to expect frame rate wise. And obviously you can play around with the things so that if you want more FPS and you want to sacrifice that longer range sort of sighting, then you can do that. Otherwise you can sort of keep it more visibility at long range but slightly lower FPS. All of that I'd love to know. Love to know your guys' feedback. I'll yeah, I'll see you in the next one.